The year was 2008, and DC Comics had a problem. It had too many villains. Seriously, the roster was overflowing. Joker, Lex Luthor, Gorilla Grodd, the usual suspects, but also hundreds of C-list rogues, cluttering up every corner of the universe. So DC did what any reasonable publisher would do. They launched them into space. Welcome to Salvation Run. The premise was beautifully simple. The United States government, through a secret program called the Suicide Squad, had been rounding up supervillains. But instead of imprisoning them, because that clearly never works, they decided on a more permanent solution: exile, using boom tube technology. They opened portals and shoved villains through, one by one, onto a distant alien planet. No trial, no due process. Just gone. The planet was supposed to be uninhabited. A fresh start for society's worst. Let them fend for themselves on some barren rock millions of light years away. Except it wasn't uninhabited.
Ow.
And it definitely wasn't barren. The villains arrived to find a hostile hellscape crawling with alien predators. Giant creatures that wanted nothing more than to tear them apart. Paradise this was not. But here's where it gets interesting. When you dump 100 supervillains onto a death world, something unexpected happens. They organize. Two factions emerged almost immediately. On one side, Lex Luthor, billionaire genius, megalomaniac, a man who believes he's the smartest person in any room and is usually right. On the other side, Joker, chaos incarnate, a man with no plan except to watch everything burn. The philosophical divide was immediate. Luthor wanted to build. He saw the planet as an opportunity. With enough brilliant minds working together, they could construct technology, establish order, and eventually find a way home. Classic Luthor, always scheming, always 10 steps ahead. Joker wanted to play. He gathered the truly unhinged villains around him. The ones who didn't care about escape. The ones who just wanted to see what would happen when you removed all the rules. And so the planet became a pressure cooker. Villains who had fought heroes their entire careers now had to work alongside each other, or against each other. Old grudges surfaced. New alliances formed. Gorilla Grodd, the telepathic ape mastermind, positioned himself as a power player. Catwoman found herself stranded among people far worse than she'd ever been. Meanwhile, the alien predators kept attacking. The body count started climbing. Some villains died fighting the creatures. Others died fighting each other. The planet was essentially a giant experiment in natural selection, except everyone involved was already a murderer. But Luthor kept building. He organized work crews. He established defensive perimeters. He even managed to construct rudimentary technology from the planet's resources. Say what you will about Lex Luthor, but the man knows how to delegate. The Joker predictably undermined everything. His chaos spread through the camp like a virus. He turned villains against each other for sport. He sabotaged Luthor's projects. He laughed while people died. Yeah, this wasn't just survival anymore. It was a war. The tension between Luthor's faction and Joker's faction exploded into open conflict. Villains chose sides. Some switched allegiances. The planet that was supposed to contain them became a battlefield. And then came the twist. The planet wasn't random. It was Apocalypse training ground, a world used by Darkseid, the cosmic tyrant, to train his parademon armies. The heroes back on Earth had been manipulated into sending villains here. The whole exile program was compromised from the start. Suddenly, the stakes were different. Darkseid's forces arrived. The parademons attacked. And the villains, all of them. Luthor's faction and Joker's faction alike found themselves facing a common enemy far worse than each other. For once, they had to actually work together. The final battle was carnage. Villains fought side by side against apocalyptic forces. Some died heroically, which is deeply ironic when you think about it. These were the worst people in the DC universe, and some of them went out like champions. Luthor, naturally, had a backup plan. He'd been working on an escape the entire time, a makeshift boom tube, a way home. The survivors made it through. They returned to Earth, changed. Some were more dangerous than before. Others were broken. A few had developed something resembling respect for each other, though they'd never admit it. The government's exile program was exposed and shut down. But here's the thing about Salvation Run. It proved something. Villains aren't just obstacles for heroes to punch. They have their own dynamics, their own politics, their own survival instincts. Put them together without heroes around, and they create their own stories. Lex Luthor emerged as the leader he always believed himself to be. Joker proved that chaos can't be contained, even on another planet. And DC Comics? They got one of the most unique events in their history, a story where the bad guys were the only guys. Survival meant something different than winning.